in real. But at the current moment, we're going to get underway, and it's going to be a whole different twist as we are on kickoff here. Let's get underway with game one.
Game one underway of this best of three, by the way, if you're just tuning in for the first time and don't know the format. So if you win one game, you're not done. You got to win two. And E. Smith will have possession first to try to kick things off, obviously, as is important in every single game. You got to get off to that hot start, and they'll look to do it here as you'll have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the backfield. Jackson back to pass. It's over the middle for Nelson Aguilar. He'll get across that first down marker. Already on this march here as they go all the way up to the 42. And Jackson will snap it again. I like this quick tempo they're looking for. Same play over the middle, so clearly in with a strategy here, Orbital.
Yeah, and that strategy is just try and push as quickly as possible. Short range passes, maybe some runs a little bit later. You don't want to wear out Henry too much. And of course you get to Bateman as well and are able to cross over, so you're on that first down and you're really burning very little clock. This is actually a strategy that I've seen others in the high school scene utilize, and now you go ahead and pop out Henry with a quick run for at least another 10. Very comfortable job right now.
Yeah, there was 2 plays right off the rip where, actually 3, where it was wide open over the middle. So you create a focal point for Trumann Wildcats Pinter to try to focus on, and then you realize that Derrick Henry is one of the best, right? He can run over a multitude of defenders. He is a beast. And definitely to run the ball. And then you switch it right back to a pass. So you're already down almost inside the red zone. As now he'll drop back. Great feed there from Bateman. As that user placement was perfect to get down to the 1-yard line.
And that feels so good. What were you just saying about that, Bearlight? What were you just saying about having an open middle? Like, that's just it. Once again, to be fair, that was a little bit better covered, but now you're in trouble. Now this is that side of KC that you're just going, oh, crap, this is going to be a problem. So we're going to see a little bit of a middle yet again. Never left, never right, always forward.
Yeah, always going. Not a wasted moment on that drive as they go down in the first minute and 27 seconds to get the first points on the board. Make it 7 here for E. Smith, utilizing that offense to perfection. I mean, they used Bateman, Nelson Aguilar. They used Derrick Henry. So just multiple targets and being able to utilize it to perfection. And now it's a needed answer here for Trumann Wildcats.
One of the big things, of course, is it started and ended with Aguilar. I'd love to point that out. It's the comfortability swapping, but at this point, we're going to be looking at Trumann Wildcats Pinter. What can they do? And remember, for the Chiefs, you have a fairly good offensive set, but trying to break through the Ravens, I mean, that is a tough ask. First run kind of stuffed down into the ground as you burn about 15 seconds.
The Ravens are notoriously a strong defensive team, and this one's especially fast, right? They have a fast defense that can really track you down. So we'll see what they can do. Mahomes over the middle. Definitely a huge utilization of Isaiah Pacheco. That's the first couple of plays. That one, a bit of a dump off, but it'll get the first down nonetheless. So more of that nickel and dime 5 to 10 yard plays versus the Baltimore team that was looking to kind of break you in with that and then eventually switch it off to some more dynamic down the field plays. We'll see if Trumann Wildcats do the same.
This is a deep, long pass. You are taking a lot of time right now. Fires it off and just lets it rip. Doesn't want to take that sack, which is fair. But the pressure from the Ravens, E. Smith doing fantastic work here. And keep in mind, because you burned about 2.5 minutes off that clock with your opening drive, it's perfectly done for E. Smith. E. Smith is not worried about how long this is going to take. You're already up 7. And as long as you can contain most of the way, I think you're going to be really proud of this one. Up through, as that's a great denial. Pass incomplete.
Well, I'm not surprised that E. Smith knows how to defend over the middle, seeing as that's their favorite place to go on the offensive side of the ball. So they were able to kind of dive in user-wise and interrupt that one. Almost an interception, which would have been huge on momentum early in this one after stealing the first 7. Here's Mahomes back for Trumann Wildcats. Mahomes looking over the middle and will just squeeze it above the 2 defenders, the 2 linebackers, and a complete pass for another first down.
And at least we are seeing that continued aggression here. Pacheco tried to go straight up that middle yet again. It's a couple of yards, which still feels good, but not great overall. This is definitely not the same pace that we saw E. Smith have before. Maybe we get that chance and a half, but it's going to spice out. A little bit of pacing as into that play position. It's going to be a run straight up. Hunt trying to carry it, and you do cross for first down.
So using Isaiah Pacheco a little bit earlier, fatigue is a real thing in Madden that you have to consider. So I do like the switch up as far as what running backs you're going to use. So a true 2 running back system here, which you love to see. Mahomes back now has a chance and opportunity to run. A good slide there. You never want to leave your quarterback up for a hit. That spells trouble. That spells turnovers every single day of the week. So I like that slide. You get 6, you get down. It'll be 2nd and 4 after a quick first quarter here, Orbital. And it's all because E. Smith and his efficient offensive run of the ball. It was a quick one, yes, and now Trumann Wildcats taking a little bit more of time, but still kind of equally as efficient as they've made their way to the 40 on the other side of the field.
Well, of course, for Trumann, you're going to try and do your best here. It looks like it's going to be another chance at a run. You're going to pass it off to Hunt, who does find the gap, breaks on through, breaks about 2 tackles, and is able to set up for another first down. So comfortability levels starting to set up for the Trumann Wildcats Alpenter, as they're going to look for their first touchdown of this half.
Pacheco going to be out wide now, so was originally in the backfield. Certainly a pass play will indicate that. The rush not coming all day long for Mahomes to look around. Now we'll have R1 across the middle. Yep, it's Noah Gray.
Oh, what a read!
Washington out of nowhere. Now down the right side of the field. Pacheco's going to have to try to chase him down, and Mahomes will eventually get the big hit out of bounds, ironically, but not after he threw an interception there. What looked like it was wide open, taken away by E. Smith.
I feel you knew that one was coming, though. You saw the breakaway from the right side, the immediate sprint to middle, and you could already see that option. E. Smith beautifully done. Now Andrew's going to carry it in for another about 12. Really nice pass. And all of a sudden, E. Smith looking like this dominant force. All you have is 25 more yards. That is all you need to Aguilar once again. First down after first down.
Yep, over the middle. And it's a new player every time. We just saw Andrews get involved. And Nelson Aguilar, who we haven't seen in a minute. We'll get it back. Now over to Flowers. Make it a perfect run across every member, every weapon of the offense. Gets the ball here on this drive. And now it'll be 14-0 after the extra point is up and good. E. Smith making work here early in this game 1.
I mean, I have to give credit. I honestly think E. Smith baited out that middle pass from Trumann Wildcats Alpenter. There's no other way to put it, and that is how you play your opponent here in this grand finals. Picked up, though, is that kickoff by Perrine. Tries to break up straight through the middle, but lands on their own 29. Not great, but not terrible. It is going to be a good starting position for Trumann Wildcats Alpenter to try and get their own momentum back.
All things considered, it was a good drive. I think they just got very one-dimensional as far as going to pass play. That's why I'm kind of surprised. You got 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. You don't have to go directly to the 5 wide receivers, but they're going to do it. And, of course, you know, you want to be able to make up points, but that one's red all the way. We talked about the speed of the defense. There it is again.
I think you're marking everyone fairly closely. Once again, low break out. Mahomes dropping back very, very far, letting all of them run 4 deep. High launch, but, I mean, this one feels like an easy pick. Almost grabbed, though. It's not going to be picked up by the Chiefs side. E. Smith denying another.
Did not like the decision from Trumann Wildcats there, but what I did like was the user control being like, oh, I need to do something about this, and almost made it work for him anyways. Mahomes rolling out right, looking towards that right side. Going to go across his body, and now the user catch, and somehow Hollywood Brown will pull this one down. I don't know how you come away with positive yards and not an interception, but I guess that's why you're in the finals.
This is every Chiefs fan dream right there, just like the perfect pass miracles happen, right? This is how we won multiple Super Bowls. That's all I'm saying. We go ahead and get the miracles where we need them. But, of course, a little bit of a 2-minute warning as we're going to count down the clock. And remember, miracles can happen, but you got to build upon the miracles as well. You're still down 14. You really need this drive to succeed if you're Trumann Wildcats Alpenter.
Yeah, they're showing rush on the defensive side, too, so they're going to have to be able to get it off. The pressure comes from the left side, but there's not much push, and it was a perfect find to Pacheco.
Oh, that hurts, too. You saw the pancake on the right side, which really opened up that middle. It was a perfect spacing, and now you look once again a little bit of this side. A lot of options here, leaning left, though, as that's going to be a little bit of a roll. Mahomes having plenty of time, but being chased has to dump the ball. That's not the second time here in the half that we've actually seen this happen, so Trumann Wildcats Penter not exactly finding those options as quickly as they were earlier.
Yeah, exactly. It does point to good decision-making because you'd never want to throw it into trouble, and there wasn't a whole lot open, but at the same time, it means that you're kind of stalled to some degree. It's been a much better drive, though, Queen, but you want to be able to finish it off. That's a risky move, but a perfectly placed ball into Kelsey for the touchdown. Getting some points on the board here is Trumann Wildcats.
1 foot in is all we saw there, and it feels good. Again, for Trumann, you need that kind of step up, but guess what happens next? With a minute 17, we've seen E. Smith drive this home before. I'm curious if we're going to see it here yet again, so see if it can work. Of course, high and hard. Reed saying, I'm not even worried about where this one is going to land, all the way in the back, and you go ahead and let that one drop. E. Smith, let's see if he can go ahead and take a turn at this one. I wonder if he's just going to go pretty dang hard in the paint as well. We've seen that middle hit 90% of the time. I can only assume it's going to continue.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be along the similar lines. This will be a real measuring stick defensively for Trumann Wildcats because they will get the ball in the second half to start off. And so if you're able to shut them down, that's one way to do it. An interception, Bolton over the middle, and that was a huge testament. Now I can continue that thought where Trumann Wildcats, if they get on the board, it'll be even ground and the ball back. But right now, a step in the right direction with that turnover.
Oh, and that hurts. Look at that. 4 were colliding, and all of a sudden, Trumann's like, yes, give me this chance. Right back, same formation, no worries. You're right back on offense. And Hendershot going to take a cross real quick. Set up to help the rest of the squad, and you're going to pass it off. Picked up by Pacheco, but Pacheco denied. 3 yards on that carry. Not bad, but I like the mix-ups. Trumann trying some other things out.
For sure. E. Smith, if they didn't dive and get the tackle, it was wide open space. So that was great decision from Trumann Wildcats. Great running, great vision. But E. Smith was able to just get it done. So a shift over. Hendershot from right to left. They'll be able to pass regardless. They'll have 5 options.
Oh, space!
Yep. Saw him commit one way and was able to take space the other way.
I like it, and this reminds me a lot of just that option runs there. It's just, hey, I see the space, I'm going to take it one way or another, and we're seeing the eyes be drawn out. E. Smith, after that interception, you had to feel a little bit shaky. You got 30 seconds if you can hold out. Maybe you get to punt that ball again, but long ball option as Mahomes is actually just going to run it. Runs it out of bounds and stopping the clock at about 26.
Yeah, you want to pick up 3, and more importantly, get out of bounds. You still have 3 timeouts, though, so you still, the middle of the field is open. Yeah, no, you're seeing pressure shown right now. We'll see if that stands. As it's going to be a quick screen out to Noah Gray, but he's not going to be able to get out of bounds, and that's why you keep those timeouts in your back pocket. So now it'll be a 3rd and 5 situation from the 26. Both of these teams work incredibly fast on the offensive side of the ball, so no surprise that we see that same theme coming in. But now with this in striking distance area, the last thing you want to do is go away with no points. So you don't want to turn the ball over. You want to be smart. Even if you have to pick up 3 with the field goal, that's okay because like we mentioned, Orbital, you get the ball back in the second half.
You really do, and again, that's the that's comfortability that you're afforded. So once again, dropping back pretty dang far, waits in the middle, is able to cross and land. Very nice pass towards that left side, and you go ahead, hit that timeout. You give yourself plenty of time. 15 seconds is more than enough to tie things up, and all of a sudden, that speed that E. Smith had for majority share, all that wind's kind of gone now.
If you have it, you take a chance. If you don't, you just want to pull it down and be able to have that timeout, a little bit of time on the clock. Mahomes not finding anything clean, so he will run this one out of bounds. Still 8 seconds on the clock, I believe. For some reason, a little bit not clean on the feed. Yes, 8 seconds left. 2nd and 9 here. You still have over the middle open. You can get these passes off pretty quickly. We'll see what they go with. Back in the shotgun. Now calling out a few different defaults, trying to maybe switch it up from what the defense is looking for. And Pacheco in the backfield as well. Snap off. Now looking around. Is going to roll out right once more. His favorite thing to do. Had somebody in the back of the end zone, but did not like the look, so throws it away with 2 seconds left.
At this point, might as well, go for the kick. Just not even worry about it. Say, let's just get the points on board. That's okay with me. A little bit up and down, and you're good. So, 4-point game right now. This is doing work. Honestly, huge turnaround for Trumann Wildcats El Penter. I was really worried about the early state. We saw the 2 touchdowns back-to-back pretty much by E. Smith. But now Trumann Wildcats El Penter get another chance. You get another chance with that ball. Now you get to run it at your own pacing as well, which is something that I think we were a little bit wondering about. That's going to roll and be picked up here. Crossing over the 20 as Perrine is going to try and hold over. Looks like she stopped at about the 24. So it's going to be a little bit of a low-end start.
Yeah, Madden, you know, momentum is a real thing, like literally built in to the engine itself. And, you know, you saw that 14 points on the board early from E. Smith. You're like, it's only going to get worse from here. But Trumann created their own luck with great defense. Look at that juke.
Oh!
Pacheco is down the sideline. What a move. What a run. And he's got it. Off the bat will take his first lead.
I am so sorry, Trumann. El Penter, I did not recognize your game. The immediate rip back of the lead puts yourself 3 up with the first real play of the third quarter. And now you just set your controller down and say, all right, E. Smith, what you got next?
Wow. What a shakeup. And it's not like we've seen much on the offensive side from E. Smith. A turnover the last time around. They weren't able to establish much prior to that. Those 14 points went up quickly, but it's been a while since they've been in a position of power offensively. They're going to need an answer here because that was a huge run. Nasty from E. Smith. As Jackson will look out left.
Oh, no!
Got her down the sideline. Make it 6 more. Yes, a pick 6 from Trumann Wildcats El Penter, who have been absolutely dynamic here. Make it more. Wow, what a turnaround.
Oh, they were only warming up in the first half. They were only warming up in the first half, and the third kick in about 3.5 minutes. That is wild for points. Reed sends it again and says, I'm getting way more action than I normally get in a singular game. Trumann Wildcats El Penter storming back with a vengeance with a 10-point lead.
You call them the Wildcats for a reason. They have just thrown a wild card in this one. And wow, what a shake-up. Their defense has been so much better than offense. But you got to look out for Lamar Jackson. He will slide down before getting hit. So a smart play here from E. Smith, and you got to be here at this point in time. The last thing you can afford is another turnover.
I'm sitting here just wondering how are you going to look once again over the top of a couple of the defenders. Coverage was there, but nice little find for E. Smith. And you're making yardage, you're gaining ground, but this is not the time to go ahead and play that short-range game. You're going to be looking to buckle into maybe some of these longer passes if you can. Call back, though. Options abound. Pitch over to the right side. Bateman getting ready to haul and actually sends it over to Henry, who is on the right side. Breaks past one defender. Gets a block in. Nice drag down on the back end. But huge run and pickup for E. Smith.
Yeah, the creativity, number one. Number two, they could have made the decision to bomb it down the field, but Henry just cannot, or flat out cannot, or I think it was Justice Hill. Either way, they're not going to be able to make that pass because it's a running back, right? Instead, you drop it off to Henry, plus you get the blockers down the field. So it was actually, you know, very tempting to throw it down the field like that with a wide open man all the way down, but I like that decision to pick up a chunk of yards, like you said, he needed. So well executed, well drawn up, 100 IQ, or 200 IQ, 15-yard line, and an opportunity to drink in. He's just average, you know, at the end of the day. No, 200 IQ, and now in the red zone.
Give him an extra 50, 250. I really don't know how IQs work. There's a reason I'm not on the IQ board there. What a pass to the middle, though. Aguilar once again getting found as that mark, and its opportunities abound as E. Smith says, hey, I did this in the first quarter. I'm going to do it again. 2.5 minutes left on the clock. Plenty of time to go ahead and cover and get into that 21-point range. If you find that TD, break away to the left side. Jackson rolling to the right, trying to pitch, but pitches it out, says, no, I don't want to give that over. 4th and 4 right now.
Yeah, tough decision to make. On a 3rd and 4, when you have Lamar Jackson, you want to be able to run it, but it's risky. You know you're getting hit in this moment. Got to go for it here on 4th down. Now has to cut the distance between here and the goal in half so they can get a first down without a touchdown. The look to go.
Oh, no.
And Reed once more. Another pick. That's an interception in the last 3 drives straight from Trumann Wildcats. And they have just been able to amp up the defense to run away, it feels like, with this one, just through that defense alone.
And it feels so rough for Eastmith. Eastmith is 100% frustrated with what's going on, and you have to understand that dump at the very end. Granted, that was 4th and 4. You didn't really have any other opportunities, so the fact that you were forced into making that rough pass, great job by Trumann Wildcats Penter. But for Eastmith, you're looking for a bit of revenge. You're still within the 3rd quarter. You still have a whole 4th to play. But, man, do you need to stop this type of drive and stop this expansion of the points. Mahomes dropping very far back. Pitches over left side. Kelsey was right there. Huge gain for the Chiefs.
Yeah, there's just so many ways that Trumann Wildcats Pinter has been proving that they can go on the offensive side and create chances. You have to look out for a long Pacheco run. We saw the 2 jukes in a 70-yard run a little bit earlier on, too. So you have to be thinking about that. You have to be thinking about Kelsey and his ability to just get open in the first place, which makes it pretty dang easy as a player of Madden if you're going to choose the Chiefs, right? There's just so many things to worry about consistently. You got Hollywood Brown. You've got the talent on this team, and it's been absolutely incredible. We haven't even seen anything from Xavier Worthy, who's typically the best wide receiver. Is it now?
Oh,
Is
you
it
had
now?
to call it.
Right on cue.
You had to call it.
Baby, give it to me.
What a call, Bear! What a freaking call! My man, the legend, asked for Worthy and got a highlight-worthy play. KC at 31.
X Factor. Xavier Worthy hadn't been used. I knew that he was holding it in his back pocket, man. I knew he was going to bring it out in that moment.
Gosh.
And holy cow, how about just take off down the field? Just go. Just go. Your speed. You can take care of this defense who's been running all over the place trying to shut them down defensively. They're going to be winded. Xavier Worthy is not. Hook him up, man. Hook him up. What a play from Trumann Wildcats Pinter in this game 1.
What are you doing, my man? What are you doing right now to me? That was chaotic, to say the least. And now, I just can't get over it. Eastmith, though, going to try and run it once more. And keep in mind, all 3 of their last drives, as you called, rightly picked off. All of them had interceptions in there, and it is rough. Walking down those last 10 seconds, might as well try and play this one out. Sends it over and is able to grab a couple yards in there. Grabs 7. It's going to be 3rd quarter. 4th coming to us live.
No doubt. 21 points.
That 21 hurts. That 21 hurts, man.
It does, man. That's all about momentum, though. Yeah, you know, it's like you got the 3 before the half. And if you had turned the ball over in that moment and not gotten points, the momentum would have shifted to Eastmith at that point. But because you take the 3 points and then get the ball back, most brilliant play I think that he's made. Even beats that long run like we saw earlier. What I like from Eastmith, though, I will say, Orbital, is the fact that he's been sticking true to his gameplay, right? If Trumann, Wildcats, Pinter, they've been able to adjust, but he's still finding little plays over the middle. This will help him in the next game, sure, but I don't see a turnaround happening in this game specifically, but I do like the fact that he knows his style and he wants to stick with it.
I can agree with that one, and again, slow and steady wins the race, unless you're turned 180. Once again, that is Henry to run straight up the middle, and I got the pleasure of watching a couple other grand finalists play it out, and it was the Ravens. It was specifically Henry that they used to kind of bottleneck some of these times when they were ahead. Henry is so great at gaining yardage pretty much 9 times out of 10, or 10 times out of 10, if you will. Never really having to worry, but you're running down the clock as well, and that's kind of one of the specialties of a Ravens squad. We'll see if they can do it here, of course, as the middle is fairly wide open, but no one's in there. It's going to be a pitch back. Bateman draws it down, and what, you only gained 1 in that down.
Was just about to say, yeah. What I like about, the usage of Henry is they do pretty much similarly. As you see a touchdown go on the board, you like to see that. A little bit of variety doesn't hurt. So Eastmith, with much needed points on the board, still not over. It'll still be a 2-possession game, so it'll be tough. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, he's utilizing Derrick Henry a little bit later on. Was the point I was making. And it's because he's so big. This is what the Ravens do in real life as well, which kind of ticked me off because I really like Derrick Henry running all game long. But you get the tired bodies defensively, and he's a train. So he can run over anybody at any time. So that's why you've seen the late utilization of Derrick Henry, which could play a factor here in this game. Honestly, it's not over quite yet, although Trumann Wildcats Pinter in a prime spot in the driver's seat.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some of that clock burn come out here. Looks like they might try Pacheco, of course, being handed that ball once again. Runs it for 2. Time winding down, and yeah, these are the calls. Slow and steady now for Trumann Wildcats. Alpenter, as they have found their prey, they marked them to be devoured. Devoured 3 times, I should say. As we're going to watch that clock wind down ever further. You see Mahomes just dropping very, very far back. I think you're going to wait all that time, and an open Kelsey and a half stays on their feet for an extra 4.
I don't know how they saw that target. They just trusted the route. They just trusted the route. They were looking for Xavier Worthy because it's one of those things where it's like, hey, show me that you can stop just the fly route. And they did. And so you pull up and you just have to trust the route there with Kelsey. And so a perfect job to get it to him and kills even more of that clock here, more importantly, as we get under 2 minutes.
Yep. It's just not going to end here. Honestly, Bearlight, this game has been so back and forth. The fact that E. Smith opened with 7 in the first and the second quarters. And right now, what a stop hunt. Able to dip out over one defender, drag down to the ground, but still catches that first down. I mean, Trumann Wildcats Alpenter really coming alive here in the second and third quarters, now the fourth even as well.
Yeah, it shouldn't go unstated that he was down 14-0 in the first quarter. And no quit attitude, nothing seems to really get at him at all. Yeah, absolutely fantastic job to keep your head in the game, continue to make plays like that, and then be able to run out the clock. It's not just about the mechanics or the user skill or the fact that you're using the Chiefs, for example, but it's the fact that you're able to make good decisions, be able to juke when he needs you, and then be able to hold your head high when things don't go right.
100%. And of course, there is always game number 2. We mentioned this before. This is a BO3 as Pacheco goes ahead, shows off a little bit more there as we're winding down to the last minute. But I think if you're looking at Trumann, you really you say you had the lead, and it really was those tight positions that you were put in. The 3 interceptions obviously hurt a lot, but you get credit where credit is due. If those ints never came in, you were going to be pretty okay in this game. So I think you can look back, or E. Smith, I do apologize. E. Smith is the one that's sitting there going, hey, just don't give over the ints next time. Maybe run the ball, maybe use Henry a little bit more than you were able to this game. And hey, you can get that victory at the end of the day, push to a game 3.
You've been able to prove that you have a game plan coming in and that you can be able to establish something, for a couple drives extended. And then you came back even still. It's not that you went away just because of the breakout performance from Trumann Wildcats Alpenter here in game number 1 as they will get the victory formation out. Mahomes doesn't even need to take the knee. Time expired regardless. Game 1 will go to Trumann Wildcats Alpenter. And E. Smith with the tough task of being able to bounce back. But like I mentioned, they were able to take the last set of points there towards the tail end, but also that does give them that opportunity at the end of the day to be able to come back in game 2. But nothing taken away from Trumann Wildcats Alpenter for their comeback victory in game 1.
Yeah, I'm looking at E. Smith and saying, hey, you came out with a lot of fire, but you got, I think, a little bit too haphazard come that second and third quarters. We really saw them kind of buckle under the pressure. After the first interception, you can't sit there and go, man, everything got let down, because that's exactly what happened with Trumann. Trumann actually threw an int, and then after that, really kind of gathered themselves, got set for the plays, and really started to read some of those openings. So I want to see E. Smith kind of mental reset, take a little bit of time, go ahead and kind of get your mental under control, and you can easily come back. I mean, the Ravens is a great squad to be able to play, and you got talented players on that roster. You can make magic happen. Just don't let yourself get too juked out by the mistakes that you have made.
We're about to start up game number 2, but we're going to take a quick break before then. Orbital, we're going to have to say goodbye to you, unfortunately, but we really appreciate you being here on this broadcast today.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right, quick break, and we'll be back with game number 2. Bearlight back with you here with the Arkansas Activities Association Finals for Madden. And we've got a new friend, by the way. The Madden 25 Youth Championship welcomes Monkey Man in here, one of my best buddies. Hail, Monkey Man. The crowd is in good hands. How are you feeling?
You know, I'm feeling great. I did not commit any felonies, driving here as fast as I possibly could to see the youth championship here for PlayVS. Of course, I would hope that all of you follow the law, but I heard that there was some chaos and some cool comebacks that were happening in game number 1.
That's right. Yeah, of course, E. Smith got out to a 14-0 lead very early, thanks to a turnover. But then it was the defense of Trumann who really stepped it up. Trumann Wildcats El Pinter not only got to 10 before the half, but then got the ball back. 21 points in the third quarter, the dynamic of this one, and was able to hold off a late push from E. Smith as the Chiefs to get that victory in game number 1. So it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of streakiness to some degree, but at the end of the day, Trumann Wildcats El Pinter with a heck of a game number 1.
That's an amazing way to be able to play it, too. And we know, you and I, how versatile both of those Ravens and Chiefs can be. And I heard a little bird might be the word, and they may be sticking exactly with those teams, playing these squads and these NFL teams the entirety of the semester. It's a big way to be able to do it. So, Bear, let's kick off for this one. I'm excited. Let's drop in for game number 2.
Let's go. E. Smith will be receiving again first to lead off things. So that's twice that Trumann Wildcats El Pinter will defer to the second half. And so for that reason, it feels like they had a strategy coming in, and it was that you'll gain as much momentum as we can there, and then in the second half be able to pop off. It worked the first time. A lot of over-the-middle targets from E. Smith last time around. You see them try to beat that out, and Lamar Jackson takes off with some blockers out in front, and now fumble ball on the ground. Another turnover to kick it off, and the luck continues here for Trumann Wildcats El Pinter.
Oh, my goodness. You and I have seen this happen time and time again. We know that Lamar Jackson is a fantastic runner, especially if you give him enough space. That one felt like there was just a need to stop. Like, you're like, oh, it's starting to open up these gaps. Got a bit too greedy. He got to hit the floor, and eventually when they did, the ball popped out.
And they've been so responsible about that exact thing. But when you got 20 things to try to focus on, to try to shut down Trumann Wildcats El Pinter, sometimes it's difficult to try to drop that thought and just play the way that you know to play, just because you want every yard you can, because of the fact that Trumann Wildcats El Pinter has played that way. So off the bat, you receive first as E. Smith, but unlike last time, you're not able to get that touchdown on the board early. Instead, it's a turnover, and Trumann Wildcats El Pinter from their own 40.
I really hope that doesn't boom their confidence at all, because obviously they know how to be able to get some good ground game going. That's really what the Ravens have been able to have as twin cities between themselves, Lamar Jackson and Henry. But now we go over to the Chiefs. Pacheco is in line, and that's been one of those key missing parts in real life that's really been utilized in a big way virtually as we go to what? 3rd and short. This one should be easy sauce, I say. But he's tracked down. Nice open field tackle.
Beautiful user tackle. They're going to go for it here on 4th down, though, from their own side of the field. This could be huge for E. Smith, confidence-wise, if they're able to make this stop. And target it, though. Pacheco left open over the middle. A taste of your own medicine, E. Smith, as Trumann Wildcats El Pinter find an open spot and will convert for the first down.
They're going to try and get Pacheco moving. You got to get that rushing game rolling, and then it really opens up chances, especially here for the Chiefs. They're going straight into what is a nicely covered area. They run toward the flats. They try to extend that perimeter. I think that if they'd squeeze that a little bit closer to the guard and tackle, might be able to gain a few. Well, they got a couple.
Got a couple. Here is 2nd and 8. Starting from the 39. Huge 4th down conversion. Otherwise, you just hand momentum right back to E. Smith in that moment. So very big risk taker, and has been able to utilize and capitalize on it. As Kareem Hunt looked like he was going to be tackled for just a couple, but ended up rolling for some more. It'll be 3rd and 3, which is much more manageable.
So far, we've gotten all the way down to the 4th down, and so looking for chances to at least kind of keep things moving along a slow burn of this rapidly moving first quarter clock. It feels like it's been going forever here, Bear, and so far, the pressure comes off the left side of the pocket just a bit too long. That's me 4th 15. Something tells me they're going to go for it again.
Believe that was the first sack of this series. Yes, I said that right. They've been very responsible with getting out of the pocket, number one, because they have those mobile quarterbacks, but being able to throw it away. The decision-making has been on point, but got caught just kind of looking around way too long. Do you see what I'm seeing? A 4th and 15. You convert it to 4th and 4. This one will be much more difficult.
They have at least a long post and a streak. You're going to see 3 players going out to the right. There's actually someone available just over the bottom. They go for the gasher. You and I have seen kind of those over the middle between the hash plays. They can be so just unequivocally important if you can get into their hands. But that's going to be a turnover on downs. So we go back to the other side.
And now it's E-Smith trying to gain that momentum back. Has wide open Henry out to the right side. Going to utilize him early. Then the truck just goes over the defense. Wow, what a run here. Derrick Henry, known to be able to do that late in the games and basically any time at this point in time. He's a big man.
Some people just forget that that dude has a truck stick, and when they eventually hit it, it is dangerous. It might happen again. Yes, it does. He backs one man up, but he's tracked down from behind. Fantastic use of Henry so far through these first couple of downs.
And one thing that really disappeared in game number 1 for E-Smith as he saw his lead disappear and then eventually had to chase the game was his utilization of everybody. I mentioned and shouted out his ability. He used every single weapon that's on this field. You know, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, obviously Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman got a catch there too, and Nelson Aguilar had plenty of love over the middle, right? He found every weapon that there was, but he got a little bit one-dimensional trying to make up that ground. But now that it's even ground here at 0, we'll see if he can't find more success with the balanced plays.
Yeah, he's going to have to back this one on up, and this is actually going to let the first quarter roll out. So we end up scoreless through this first one. Couple key takeaways, one on downs, one off the initial rip from scrimmage. Didn't really get to see E-Smith kind of start things off. I'm glad that they've gotten back into more confident shoes and cleats. It feels like they've found some grip here on the turf. They'll go into a 3rd and 3, but this is all for the money, and it drops into the pocket. That'll be E-Smith first on the board.
Oh, perfect window, and was able to nail it. Great job from E-Smith to kick off this one after a turnover. Could have really let him hang his head, especially what happened to him in the second half of game number 1, but he didn't let it bother him. Right back out for some success here on the second drive of the game and a 7-0 lead. And you're going to need a lead as you kick off to Trumann Wildcats El Pinter in the second half. So job well done to get this one on the board, and we'll see if they can hold up defensively.
You know, third quarters are dangerous, man. Like, you and I have seen them go a bit too crazy, and that's a couple of spin moves that they will walk them on back, so just before the 20-yard line. But, I mean, when you have to go into a third quarter, it's either going to be a defensive battle or it's going to be one of those breakout battles that just kind of goes sideways. So I like that E-Smith has definitely come into this first half, even with one takeaway, found some confidence. But we go back to the Trumann Wildcats El Pinter. Or El Pinter, rather, and we're going to see what this one goes. Drop back pass. You got a man in the flat. Great coverage. That'll be a loss of 2.
Yeah, again, that defense is tracking so well, and you really know when to switch over. I love E-Smith's ability to switch over the user play and be able to break through some of those screens, some of the flats plays that we've seen a little bit earlier on. So we'll see if they can continue to hold. This one will be out to Pacheco. He's got running room as well. As he got that momentum going, being able to catch it in stride was a key part of getting that first down.
Making that extension on the dive, you're trying to cover as much ground as possible to be able to knock over the would-be runner, but that spin by Pacheco was what got him over the stick. So we go to a fresh set now, identifying some pressure. That's going to be up in the middle. They use that linebacker. Now it's one man to beat. He does so. Another fresh set, and they're trying to get away from Hamilton. That shoestring tackle ends up being just enough to take him down, otherwise prevent a touchdown.
And you think that juking would be incredibly easy, but it's not. Like, you have to time it perfectly, and the fact that he was able to shake 2 tacklers just by that alone. We saw it on a 70-yard run. Yes, 70 yards in the last game, 70 plus, and now you see why. Just a couple of jukes can do that, but you have to time it extremely well. He's done exactly that.
The user level manipulation of some of these NFL players is just so, like, they're living inside their bodies, living in their second skin. Pacheco has been a great use, and they get around one, trying to seal the outside, but a whole flock of Ravens, they call that a conspiracy. They will be able to lay them down, but not until it's a first down.
Well, they need theories on how to stop this offense because it's been very difficult to do. Out in stride once again, Pacheco, a big part of this. But Kareem Hunt will be in the backfield this time around. He's got some Maje Pirine out in front, but you also have some Ravens in the backfield that you have to deal with. That's a loss of 1.
Yeah, you have a kind of a 3-man deep stud base back there. Samaje with Kareem as well as Pacheco. Looks like they've gone to a power set to try and force the issue, and they want to do that right off of the tackle. So they take a longer step to get it over to Kareem. Now Hunt, he's moving. Nice move, and they have to get him just before the 10.
Spectacular vision. I mean, I can't say enough about it. I was talking about the jukes, like the mechanics there, but just the vision to be able to catch that little tiny hole and be able to make use out of it. The Chiefs offense can certainly open it up. But the Ravens defense has been spectacular. When they make the reads, it's great. When they are having to deal with that offensive line push out and the lead blocker out in front, then it's just even a little bit of space has been so fruitful for Trumann Wildcats Alpinter as they reach inside the red zone.
This was tough for them last time, but they've progressed a little bit further. They go back to Hunt. They try to seal that one block. They will get inside the 5, and this is where this heavy package really starts to pay off, Bear. You've got Samaja, you've got Kareem, and that now starts biting. Do you pack the box? Do you really fill those A and B gaps, or do you have to watch out for what could be a bootleg?
That's a great point. Timeout taken from E. Smith. They anticipate getting the ball back before the half, but they're going to go straight up the middle instead. Kareem Hunt somehow stayed up. And they don't get the touchdown, but they did get the first down, so they'll have plenty of time, number 1, to strike it in, and they can take some time off the clock as well.
You got 4 shots to try and just jam this one up the middle. You better be squeezing that gap over to the center and not allowing at least a QB sneak. Some of that may be tried, but because of the ground game that's now been established, especially from Pacheco, then switching that up between this power eye, you have to respect that there could be a fake. They've been really lining it up, but they may just knock it down. That's an easy walk-in. Kareem Hunt, we're going to be 1 PAT away from a tied ball game.
Yeah, in this battle, you're going to want to take as many points as allowed. And right now, despite the clock, you wanted to take a little bit more off of it. And credit E. Smith for being able to take that timeout, 2 timeouts, in fact, in order to keep it, a minute and 15 that you can maybe bounce back, get a touchdown here. Because you know what Trumann Wildcats Alpinter can do in the second half, and you want to take any chances. You want to make sure you get points on this drive.
This entire first half, Bear, kind of feels like an extended third quarter traditionally. Like you've seen each other over the course of it, and maybe because of that comeback, they didn't really get to play what is a typical third quarter because of the breakout comeback that we got out of Trumann. But we'll go drop back into the pass this time. Instead of going to Henry, they go and find Bateman. Oh, he gets smashed, and that pigskin drops straight out of his hands.
Even the wide receivers have trouble holding on to it, especially if you get hit that way. Man, oh man, stepped up and laid out a absolute hammer. And now Trumann Wildcats Alpinter have a chance to take the lead going into the third quarter as well. But the defense standing in the way, that is just absolutely great group tackling there in that moment. So down to 55 seconds.
Swarm defense. They would love to at minimum get a field goal off of this, and they have oh man, a 0 play. They have to get onto him immediately. Rice is able to put some hands onto it. You get a timeout to pause this clock. 46 seconds, a lot of room and a lot of time to at least start mechanizing yourself upfield.
The best way to catch a team by surprise is by being able to toss it out with that quick pass. I like the idea, but it was just well read from the defense. Credit E. Smith for that one. Mahomes back. Now going to find Pacheco right side. Good spin move to open up one. Will tuck out of bounds with 40 seconds left.
Very smart and methodical gameplay. You know that they're going to dive towards you, so make a spin, get to the first, step out of bounds. That is fantastic macro gaming, and this actually could turn into a touchdown in a hurry. Massive A-gap opening. Pacheco with a stutter step. He's able to get over the first down, make another spin. He's inside the 10.
That is just unreal. The couple of jukes earlier in that one, then the spin move at the tail end, just one touch away from being able to walk it into the end zone. But instead, you have one more chance, down to 10 seconds. Need to hurry. We'll give it to Pacheco. Wide open space and a touchdown for Trumann Wildcats Alpinter.
7 seconds remaining in this first half, and E. Smith may just be hands on hips wondering what in the world happened. What a speed run to get to this point in the field. I was thinking, you know what? Maybe this will turn into a field goal opportunity. They have just enough time. No, not settling for less are the Wildcats. Wow. Okay, Bear. Got a contender right now, and E. Smith getting a reminder as to what's going down. And that means that they're going to have to surrender even more points possibly in the first half. Trumann's getting the ball back, right?
That's right. Trumann Wildcats Alpinter will get the ball back in the second half to kick it off in the third quarter. And with 7 seconds left, I don't think that's enough time for E. Smith. They've been able to find efficiency when we talk about 5 or 10 yards, but they don't really have anybody that can just shriek down the field. Maybe Flowers, but that one's going to be shut down basically all day long.
Yeah, Flowers, he's a speedster. He can be picked up, but you got like triple coverage back there. Yeah, that one's going to go to the outside. It does get received by Flowers, and he does get out of bounds. So that's enough of a gain on the 47-yard line. throw the bomb. See what happens.
Yeah, that's perfect play. You know, you get it out to the sideline. You still had a timeout, so you could have utilized the middle of the field, but it was the wide open target, so a great decision. So now at the 47, you have at least within striking distance. Lamar can throw it that far. That is step one. Step two will be able to find somebody. You see the user all the way back for Bolton. Just going to play center field here as they are going to try to toss this one in the end zone inevitably.
Yeah, and hopefully no fumble rooskies end up happening for the defense to just pick up a great amount of coverage, let all this develop. Now chuck it as far as you can. Don't let them step out. Hey, it's a great reception. You're going to get more yards to the stat line, but ultimately we go to halftime, and it's going to be still 14-7. Trumann Wildcats El Pinter. They're in the lead right now, Bear. They have a chance to take away this youth championship depending on how this next half goes.
Yeah, 100%. This next drive will be very telling. E. Smith's shown some defense in the past. We'll see if they can't hold strong here in this moment, as we've seen a third quarter breakout from Trumann Wildcats El Pinter. I don't think they're going to let the foot off the gas by any means, even though they have the lead versus last time where they had to come from behind. They do have Kareem Hunt out here in the backfield in the eye, and they'll give it right to him. Right off the bat, tries to break out right side, able to break through. Just passed in the dive, will just get there. Otherwise, that would have been a lot more.
That was a great angle attack on that dive. He actually went upfield in front of Kareem instead of going directly where he was. So great tracking, but that does turn into a first down. They're utilizing the toss play, but this has been a very telegraphed motion. They're going to the ground, and I wonder when they're going to go to the air, but they're finding success in the trenches, basically.
And when you have the ability to juke, spin the way that he does, then you just throw it out in open space. Worst case scenario, you're burning time off the clock regardless. Now, you don't want to play that way defensively, and conservatively, especially when it's been the aggression that's been helping out. But either way, you're still killing clock. You're in the 3rd and 9.
Still, it feels unstoppable. You're going to have actually a change-up, and that was very well read. This is the exact playbook we got out of Trumann Wildcats El Pinter just a little bit ago. Hit Kareem, hit Kareem, hit Kareem, and go out to that right side flats. Throw the zero play about 3 to 5 yards immediately. Systematic this has been, Bear. It's 4th and 4.
And they've gone for it on multiple occasions. I expect nothing less, especially in this area of the field where analytics would say, yes, go for it. And Mahomes now will shout out some direction here just before the snap. It's off. Now it's across the middle. Pacheco will pick up the first down.
Pacheco is a madman. I want to know total yards for Pacheco at this point in time. He is a very great weapon. Everyone out of that backfield is, but especially Pacheco at this point. Kareem Hunt will be the lone man back. He's got a lot of linemen, and they keep drilling it. Now they go to the A-gap. Just when they've been extending everything into that right side perimeter, when they cut it up the middle, they find ground.
Trumann Wildcats El Pinter. This display on the ground is spectacular because a lot of times at the high school level, you're just going to see passes. So not only is it a switch up there, but then you have the skill on the ground to be able to create space for yourself. It's absolutely spectacular. Going to go back to a great spin. The defense couldn't quite hold him. It will get across the first down marker to the 24.
This is burning down the clock right now, Bear. I love a great ground game. I used to watch it all the time in collegiate, and I was always cheering for it. But this is absolutely tearing through the 3rd quarter. It basically has been all Trumann all the time. E. Smith is going to be sweating bullets to try and get this ball back.
Yeah, especially when you're already behind in the series as well. And look at Kareem Hunt. Creates more space. The spin move just read. I mean, they were that close to breaking down and making it a 2-possession game. It's still 2nd and 5, though, and the clock continues to tick down.
You know, I didn't know that you guys over there with the Kansas City Chiefs, I didn't know they were such a good ground game unit. It makes sense with them having, I think, one of the most successful but least scoring offenses all of last year.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to really kind of grind that out.
Would have been great if Pacheco didn't, unfortunately, break his leg. So that was not the best of outcomes there, but listen, you move past it. Hence the acquisition of Kareem Hunt. And now in Madden, you can enjoy both running backs, which is spectacular. Plus, you have Pacheco over the middle once more, trying to get and gain more. 3rd and 2 here. Well, you know it's 2-down territory because Trumann's been doing it all game long.
Yeah, look, this stable is so deep, and it's already 4th quarter. I'm telling you, this clock just whizzed on by, and it's the same differential that you had before. Even when he scored 14, you got 21 back. It was 14-7, nothing has been scored. A ground game, a campaign that started all the way back at the 40, and it feels like it should have been going faster, but they want to get this youth championship, and they may chew up every bit of clock to do it.
5 minutes separates Trumann Wildcats El Pinter from the Arkansas Activities Association championship title, youth title.
Oh!
But Hun's going to be stopped in their tracks. Great defensive hold there from Eastmith. It'll be 4th and 2.
Now, he's been unstoppable on the ground. What should bet that there may be a pass just to cause a little wrinkle, and something has got to be in the frontal lobe for Eastmith, but instead we're going for the field goal. Okay, so not directly going for it, but it's been such a great takeaway of time. Trumann not only winning the clock, but also getting themselves 3 points, and sometimes you can think, oh, that's settling. Nah, that is a huge extension because now it is a 2-possession game.
Yeah, that's exactly the point that they were looking to go after here in this possession, was not only take a bigger lead, make it a 2-possession game here. 4:29 left, and Eastmith just unfortunately hasn't been able to prove that they've been able to point points in the board here in game 2, nor had they been able to in the second half of game number 1. So they're going to force them to prove it. So I like them going against their norm in order to do that. As you see Jackson back now trying over the middle. You do have Bateman open. Does break one tackler, and will eventually get knocked down, but not until they get to the 50.
You're looking for the stunner tackles, too. You're seeing the 2 hands get pumped to the chest every time a defender is able to hit one of these receivers, and that's the one that pops the ball out of their possession. Second down, rather, first set going out, man, it's a little bit too wide. That's that sideways sling ball that Lamar Jackson likes to send. A little bit kind of wide, but it's got some speed to it.
Yeah, and, Truman's been holding down the middle of the field, so the habit is to go towards the sideline, hope that they can tiptoe it out. It'll be over to Henry. Henry, good cut back, great open space, great vision. He will be bumped back, which is kind of rare to see him fall backwards to some degree, but Henry was still able to manage 9. It'll be 3rd and 1.
He's going to need some Advil after that. A little bit of a headache, getting hit locked in, helmet to helmet, bit of face mask action. You're actually going to see it go over to Bateman. It's a pass! He's shucking it! He's got a man! There's a flag down! Flowers will go out of bounds, and I want to know what this flag is. Offensive pass interference? No!
Oh, great creativity. We saw one of those in game 1, by the way, and so like to see it break back out. Hate to see that it doesn't work because of Mark Andrews on that offensive pass interference. Unlucky, but here you go. You got to put it out of your brain. Here's 3rd and 11. They'll gain a little bit back. Now 4th and 7, which feels like you got to go for it. You're not in field goal range.
You got to. I mean, 3 minutes to go, just a little bit of change on top of that, and we didn't get to see Eastmith with anything in the 3rd quarter. He's got to get someone, and he's got someone. Bateman has been his go-to guy. He'll get double covered and taken down, but that's another set of downs.
Huge play, and that is a risky one, especially against the zone. You have to know and be confident where that ball needs to be thrown. He's going to go right back to it. Bateman got some space too. Had a blocker out in front with Zay Flowers. Will pick up the 1st down to the 18.
Got to start marking number 7 if you're the Chiefs. You can't let them continue to get free. He's on the right side of that trip set, right on the right side of your screen. And maybe looking at him as he crosses over the middle. A lot of time right now. That's going to be a throwaway. Didn't like what he saw and didn't want the pocket to collapse.
Yeah, and it looked like he was in the pocket. He might have dropped back a little bit further than it. So I guess a good read to make sure it wasn't intentional grounding because penalties have been an issue here on this drive. But a 2nd and 10 from the 18. Jackson in the shotguns. Got Derrick Henry back with him. You've got Mark Andrews out right, Zay Flowers out left, that's Trips out right. And we'll see them coming at him. 3-man rush, so plenty of time here for Jackson. You had Bolton kind of watching him, but now Lamar Jackson up the middle. Ball on the ground. Can they get it? They do! Oh my goodness, what a roller coaster ride, but a touchdown nonetheless.
He saw the ball pop out of his QB's hands, had to turn around. He was already plastered on the ground, just had to reach out and take it. And they do. PAT's good within 3. And the biggest task right now, Bear, is Eastmith's got to get this ball back and got to keep Trumann from grinding down this clock. What a different way to score that was.
There was a 4th down I wasn't sure they're going to make, and they just barely get it. There was a ball on the ground, and they were able to recover it in the end zone for a touchdown. That is the craziest way to get a score. Now you got to cash it in with that defensive run. Like you mentioned, to your point, Trumann Wildcats El Pinter has been great. Got to be wary of the run game here because they're going to want to run out that clock. You have all 3 timeouts, and you have the 2-minute warning here.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, you got at least the one that's going to be forcing them to stop. So, do you go for a chunk yard? Do you simply stick to the ground like you've been? The second one gets answered immediately because we've got Kareem Hunt in the backfield, and they're going to be using him the entire time. I would be stacking this outside flat as much as I possibly could. They'll get a bonus of 2 seconds just beyond the 2-minute warning. 2nd and 6. And I got to wonder, I'm like, all right, this is basically poker. You got to hold them for as long as you can until you start really burning those timeouts to preserve clock.
Yeah. 100%. 2-minute warning they're coming out of. 2nd and 6. Still not done after a first down. It won't feel good because you're going to have to burn all timeouts. But right now the mission at hand is to make a stop. It'll be Noah Gray in motion from right to left. Mahomes, 2 in the backfield. Will hand it off. Kareem Hunt up the middle. Great defensive. Will knock him down early. Now it's 3rd and 3.
They haven't used the timeout yet. That's going to burn a lot of clock. They think that they're going to be able to get this done and maybe get this 3rd down crispy. 3rd and 3. They got to really crowd the box. Kareem Hunt will split the corner. He's trying to make one move inside. All right. Now you got to cool your jets. You use one, though, but it's on 1st down. This is going to be a bit oblong if they do get this ball back.
Yeah, it's going to be well down. I'm not sure they have enough time for it. We'll have to see. This might be victory formation time. We will await. It looks like they need to run a play, so they will. They've got the I formation out. You know it's going to be a run play, but can you even shut it down with how many people are there? Sure enough, you do. 2nd and 12, timeout instantly.
Okay, so minute 11. So that means you're going to be able to stop the next one if you can be able to get that stop. You burn about 40 seconds, and then that becomes that punch. So that's how that's going to have to go down. That's what the defense is really stacking against. That means you're going to have maybe 25 optimal seconds. They throw it to the 0 play, and he smashes them in the chest. 2 downs to go.
Try to catch him by surprise, but E. Smith, it doesn't seem like anything seems to faze him in that department at the very least. 3rd and 6. This one is where it's made or broken. Here in the finals of the AAA, the AAA. Mahomes back, looking across. Incomplete pass. That'll stop the clock with 1:06 left.
Oh, you go for a pass there? Oh, that leaves so much opportunity. They're going to be going for a field goal, though, forcing the issue to not allow a field goal to tie. 38-yard line, very manageable. And at this point, looks like they're actually taking that final timeout. Okay,
Yep.
they want to be like, okay, are you really going to go for this field goal? What's happening here? Do we set up for defense?
Man, it's tough to say. If you go for it and you don't get it, like incomplete pass, for example, you stay there. If you miss the field goal, same thing applies.
Oh, he's going for it.
So he's going to go for it. Why not take a risk down the field, at least kill some clock in the meantime? Mahomes back. He'll try for it over the middle, picked up by Smith. And he's going to try left side, but he's going to be wrestled down. But 59 seconds left. Sure, there's no timeouts, but that's plenty of time, plenty of shots here for E. Smith.
You know, a lot of quarterbacks, they get tested with a 2-minute drill. This is sub 1 second of the minute drill. You have to have a minute to win it. Can E. Smith force a game number 3? You know they pretty much are going to have to go one-dimensional, playing to the outside, getting these passes off. What can they accomplish here? Nice drop back. Great coverage. If you allow it to elongate this long, you have chances downfield. Bateman comes up big.
Did he get out of bounds? No, but, I mean, chunk yards, spike it, yes. It'll be 2nd and 10 now after the spike. Time is killed at 35 seconds.
All right, so we're all the way down to the 21-yard line. You have a chance to be able to get that field goal, just like you mentioned. So we could be able to time it out, but they also could be aiming for victory. E. Smith has been very wily, very confident. They're going to have everyone plunge out. You don't have a lot of pressure. Jackson's got wheels. He's actually going to bring it out. He's going to throw away. Very wise decision.
Yeah, there was nobody open. You had a user tracking that down. So Trumann Wildcats El Pinter was literally just tracking on the one person that you could choose to change the route. So great decision. Just throw it away. Get rid of it. Another down here to live for.
Look how squeezed up the box is. They're going to try and drop back into those deeper zones, like several yards deep. They have a chance. That gives Jackson a chance. He needs to make sure he slides to it. That is going to burn clock. If you go for
4th and 2.
What? Wait.
That's it.
It was a runoff. No! Oh, the hurry up murdered the clock, and that's how it ends. Oh, if he'd been able to slide over the 1st down, might have been able to get a chance for it. They couldn't spike it, so that's the way it goes.